making the day. It's like so good. I need a perfect purple background like that. So to get this going, let's see. Mythica, we are live. Who do you want to do a shout out to?
I want to give a shout out to my business partner, Mike Murray. He's one of the reasons I have this lovely studio I'm in. So I'm
Awesome.
giving a shout out to him.
Mike Murray, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, bros, and everyone else, let's do a brand new show today. I have a guest on that's been on before. Her name is Mythica Van Griffin. She is amazing and can talk about just about any subject. And the fact that we're talking with her today makes me so happy. Like my heart is pounding. And we are actually going to talk about the heart. So let me add her to the stream and welcome, Mythica. How are
Hi,
you?
everyone. Good. Hi, everyone out there. Mwah.
Awesomeness. Oh, I've had trouble doing that before. I just feel like my
Girl,
fingernails are gritting together. I can't do it. So we are going to talk today about some really, really cool stuff. People who are interested in the heart, mind, and entire body connection. Because when we were in the green room yesterday and later, earlier, we talked about the gut having its own brain. I think a lot of people
it's
don't even
true.
realize that the gut has a
It's considered
brain,
the second brain. It
right?
has thousands upon thousands of neural connections to rival the brain. I mean, it's amazing. I could pull it up, but it's really awesome. Yeah, but
Well,
second brain.
I had heard about the gut having a brain. What I had not heard of, and this really got me excited, was the heart having a brain too, right? So just to blow everyone else's mind too, tell me about the heart and its brain. How does that work?
All right. So there's a group of scientists called the Heart Math Institute, and they specifically wanted to find out what the brain heart connection was. So they set people up with, that head cap thing that has all the
Hmm.
stuff for the EEG, skin galvanization, temperature, heart rate variability, all the whole nine yards. Everything that they could measure, they measured people for. And in their study, what they did is they had a computer which randomly selected either a terrible, gory murder death scene or cute bunnies and kittens and rainbows and puppies. And because those elicit a full body kind of response. And what they found blew them away. And that's that the heart knew 4.82 seconds before the computer randomly selected the photo if it was going to be the gory, terrible photo or the puppies and rainbows and kittens. That the
Okay.
heart knew that. And then furthermore, that traveled up the vagus nerve into the center of the brain and the prefrontal cortex, where still, even before the image was placed before the eyes, that the brain and prefrontal cortex actually knew which picture it was going to be before it was shown. So that very important piece of scientific data tells us that what we always thought of as the third eye being here and this is the receiver of the information, our third eye actually comes from our heart.
Oh my gosh.
That blew me away. It flipped my whole world because I'm like, oh, think of here, think of here. And now I'm like, no, it comes from here. And the more amazing part that has really put scientists upside down on their heads, and of course, which people in the psychic world have known for thousands of years,
Uh-huh.
and anybody who works in the intuitive practices, is that our heart is connected to the quantum field, that there is quantum information that is coming from the field that is around us, and it informs the body through the heart what is going to happen in the future by
So this
4.8 seconds.
That's amazing because the whole thing, I think you're right. I mean, I just watched Doctor Strange and he had his third eye here in the middle of his head and everything.
Mhm,
But it's
mhm.
the heart that you're saying is the connection to the frontal cortex that gives you the ability to sense things. And
Correct.
does that tie into how psychics, people who are psychics, um, feel people around them, their empathy and all that kind
Absolutely.
of stuff?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the heart is the largest electromagnetic magnet that we have in our body. The amount of energy that it produces is an incredible amount, and it is part of what generates our magnetic field, or what we think of as quote unquote our aura. Actually comes from our heart and generates out and does this entire field, right?
Hmm.
The heart is actually where that's generated from. It is the largest electromagnetic source in our body.
There are people, and I will count myself as one of them, at least when I was little, that can actually look and see the auras.
Mhm.
I don't have the ability anymore, but is it something that you have to work and do your heart kind of meditations on to get that ability back or to be able to see the auras again? Or how's that going to work and how's that connect to the heart?
So, the heart actually has its own brain cells. This is more of what the Heart Math Institute found out, and that the heart itself has its own memories
Hmm.
and things that it's picked up. And this is also, many people have heard the stories of people who've had heart transplants that
Yes.
even have food preferences that they've had post heart implant, to only to find out that the donors had those food preferences. Like,
Oh,
so literally the heart has those brain neural cells that are in there actually have their own memories and everything else. And so, that's not unusual.
hmm.
Um and so it is, but here is the very, very, very important factor that I want to bring up in all of this. Now, mind you, these are not my opinions. These
Right.
are scientifically proven things, right? Um, so when I say that, like, I'm not voicing an opinion. This that was done in a thing, and if anybody wants the scientific um, studies, or they want the sources, I am more than happy to give that to them so that they can
Awesome.
go check it out to their heart's content. There's a great book called The Field by Lynn McTaggart, and she lists every single scientist and every single study, and is a great resource. Also, Dr. Joe Dispenza, um, he has a ton of studies as well. And then most of the things where it concerns heart transplants, there are tons of personal stories out there for which you can look up any of this. But getting back to the point that I wanted to make, and that's that the brain has duality. We have a right hemisphere and a left hemisphere, okay?
Hmm.
And so there's this back and forth between the two hemispheres, the different ways of thinking, the on and the off, the left and the right, the linear, the nonlinear. The heart has no dualistic thinking. This is
Okay.
so important. So what happens is this non-dualistic thinking. Now the information, and this also comes from the same study with the gory picture and the puppies and kittens. 90% of the communication flow is from the heart to the brain. We've always
Hmm.
thought of it as mind over matter, like I need to control myself, right? Mm-mm. It's 90% is the heart coming up to the head, and only 10% is the brain back down to the heart. That is
Now,
massive. It
how do
is
people use
massive.
that information? Because that, even when you're doing breathing, I guess you're usually breathing in and you're trying to fill up your gut with air, and then the heart's up here, and people don't think about that. How do
Yeah.
people use this knowledge that you just laid on us to either increase their intuition, make their lives better, meditate?
Okay.
How do you use that?
So the answer to that is something that's called heart coherence. Um, so there are studies which show the heart goes like this, right? But it doesn't do it consistently, like beep, 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 right? It's like it's all over
Okay.
the place, right? And so there is this place where you can get into what's called coherence, where your heart and your brain, so your EEG stuff and your heart are in the same wave like this. And that's called heart coherence. And
How does
that
one do that?
is the sweet spot, right? So, like anything,
Yes.
it's with practice. So, for anyone who's interested, the Heart Math Institute has a either plug-in device or a Bluetooth device in which you can put the device on your ear, and it's a free app that you can plug into your phone, and you can actually practice coherence, and it's
And
awesome.
is that through breathing? Is it through
It is through
what
breathing.
kind of
Yep.
exercising? Okay.
Yep, it is through breathing. And so the little app actually shows you how to breathe and has a little visual device on it. I'll show it to you,
Oh,
just so
excellent.
that anybody can look it up. Um, so it's called Inner Balance. It's that one right there that looks like the rainbow. It's called Inner
Okay.
Balance, and that's my wife. Everyone,
Hello, wife.
that's Julie. And then the other one that's right next to it, that's called Global Coherence.
Okay.
And that is a project where a bunch of people who are doing this heart brain coherence are trying to do at the same time all around the world, getting into coherence to help us lower crime rate, lower violence, all kinds of stuff. So this is a thing. This is a new movement, and it's backed by science. So it's totally spiritual,
Uh-huh.
but the
But backed by
science,
science.
the backed by science part allows a Muslim, an atheist, and a Christian to all do the same thing without an argument.
You know what? Let's talk about that with prayer and the
Yeah.
coherence, because what it sounds like is you, in a scientific way, are talking about prayer and everyone aligning their thoughts to make certain things happen or send certain messages. Talk about that for just a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. So the thing is the bottom line is that when we think about our heart and we think about love and we think about connection, our brains and our hearts go into coherence no matter what we personally or individually believe. And
Mhm.
this is really important because what's more important is our oneness and our connection than our methodology,
Okay.
right?
That makes, yeah,
That
that makes sense.
that I love the idea, of course, love that that love itself is is at the heart of all of this, right?
Okay.
That love is the underlying binding connecting factor, and regardless of who or what you believe in, love is still love is the thing that transcends ideology,
So
mythology,
if we've got
practices.
people that are watching right now, and by the way, if you guys have questions, type them into the comments, and I'll be able to put your question up so Mythica can actually answer the questions for you. So that's very awesome. I am completely blown away by this ability to actually get into coherence, right? Like, what happens when you have a group of people and and somehow they all get into coherence? What happens then?
Yummy things happen. Yummy, yummy, yummy things happen. So, this woman named Lynn McTaggart wrote a book called The Power of Eight.
Hmm.
And it is all about the power of a small group, 8 people. She did all of this research. And in there, she does quote prayers and everything else. She's also the one I told you that wrote The Field with all the scientific research. But
Okay.
what she did is the intention experiment in lowering um, violence in a region, in a war torn region of Afghanistan, and was able to collect the data and prove that when the group as a whole did this together, regardless of space, time, or distance, like it was all at the same time around the world,
Hmm.
but everyone was at their computer doing just what we're doing right now, and all sat down with the same intention, listened to the same music, listened to the same guided meditation, and it affected lowering the violence in Afghanistan. And the interesting thing was is at the time I was listening to the book, I just heard, like it was last summer, that we pulled out of Afghanistan, and the region was becoming coherent, for lack of a better word,
Right.
right? And
By the way, I love the fact that you say you were listening to a book. I do the same thing because I can't read anymore. But
well, I was on a road trip, very hard to drive and listen to it,
and
read a book
and
at the
read.
same time.
Yeah. But
But
by the way, I want to go ahead because I want to talk about your book too.
okay,
The power of pretend.
I'll
Let's
just
do
finish
this.
this one point, right? And so, in the book, The Power of Eight, she noticed that small groups of people who stayed together for a year and did this work had the greatest effects. But it was almost more important that the rebound effects from doing it were almost outside of whatever it is they focused on. So you focused on one of each of the persons. So, like, if you focused on one person in the group who needed abundance, the group would get abundance. If you focused on one person in the group that needed health or healing, the whole group would get that benefit, or even the people that were around them in their lives, like their husbands or their children or their mom or something. And so she was like, that's even more incredible. And so she goes, you can call it guided meditation, you can call it prayer, whatever you want to call it. This is what we're finding in the study. And so, yes, the the effects are exponential when you do it in groups. So for sure. And they're
Um,
even more exponential if they're really large groups.
if you look at it from a religious, or we'll go with Christian point of view, people
Okay.
who do the laying of hands on people, would that be the same sort of thing where you're in coherence, or is that different with the laying
That
of hands
depends
on
on the
people?
honestly, that depends on if the group is in coherence, right? So if it's an individual, if it there's a difference whether or not it's a group of individuals versus a group with one mind and one purpose,
Mm,
right?
okay,
So your own individuation is is what changes that, right? So
okay,
if you're like, I'm working on my connection to the divine versus connecting to the group.
yes,
So it's almost immaterial what the group is doing. It's how they're doing it as a group, which is the most important.
gotcha. Well, I'm going to switch subjects, not subjects completely, because I want to talk about your book, The Power of Pretend.
Okay.
And tell us about what you've written because you've done all this studying, and how has your tell us about your book in general.
All right. So the power of pretend is basically how when I was on the TV show Skin Wars, I became homeless. Well, I was actually homeless before I got on the show, and my life was just not doing well. I had put all my eggs into the Skin Wars basket, and that first season that it was on the Game Show Network, it only got 1 million views, which is really no different than one viral video when you come to think of
Mm-hmm.
it. It's like, wow, that's 1 million people. I'm like, have you seen how many people have seen Britney Spears's thing or Justin Bieber, right? We're talking in the like 27, 63, 99 million views,
Right,
right? So it's
right.
like not much, right? And so I was like, okay, this didn't work. My life is terrible. I've got 30 puffs left on my inhaler. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to I'm going down like a sack of potatoes if I don't change. In Albert Einstein's quote, you cannot solve a problem with the same mind that created it. And so I knew that I literally had to get out of my mind. And so I had done this once before. So I used the power of pretend and gaming and method acting. And I literally wrote up a character that could fix my problems. and
Okay.
then I and then I role played that for like a year and
And
got out of all kinds of problems. Like I did my income times 7. Like
wow.
I septupled my income. I got a car, I got a place to live. I just got out of all of my problems. I uh dropped the weight. I got healthy. It just everything changed. Everything
And so
changed.
your book goes over your story as well as does it teach other people how to do the same sort of thing?
Yes, yes. I
Okay.
have suggestions that are in there, and but if people don't want to experiment and they're like, "No, I don't want to make decisions. I just want you to tell me how to do it." Then yes, you can sign up with me and I'll tell you how to do it.
Excellent. So you also have a program that have called a Change of Heart, right?
Yes.
And
Mhm.
tell us about the Change of Heart program.
So the Change of Heart program is a 90-day program. I am starting in the middle of this month, uh, like around June 15th. And basically, it's teaching people over the course of 3 months. Each month has a theme, and teaching them how to use that heart mind coherence to help bring
Mhm.
about the changes that they want in their life. So one of the themes is the secret to manifestation. Who
Ah.
doesn't want that? Right? Because we're all like, there's all these stupid books about manifestation, and the secret actually didn't give you the freaking secret.
No, they did not, did they?
They didn't. No.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
and so it's how, how you can use your heart to get the changes that you want, right?
Mhm.
And so uh th- with all this stuff that I've been learning, the best way to ingrain it even deeper is to teach it to somebody else. I'm so excited about what I learned. I can't wait to teach it to other people. And the benefits are already showing up in my life. It's like literally uh 2 days ago,
Mhm.
I was like, man, I need some abundance. And so I did the meditations, and out of the blue somebody contacted me, and I got $1,000 worth of work,
Nice.
like just
Nice.
like that. And that literally has to do not with changing my mind, but changing my heart. Like, the feelings are really just so massively important. We think it's all about this visualization, and that's great. It really is, but without the heart, y- that's where all the magic is.
Well, one of the things that you and I talked about right before we came on air today was that you wanted to be able to help some people, and you, out of the goodness of your heart, have offered to give. You've got your program, but you've offered to give people a 10-minute Zoom call
Mhm.
um, to talk about whatever they want to,
Yep.
and I think that that is amazing. I'm not sure. It was what is your email? It's I am
I am
Mythica.
Mythica@gmail.com.
Okay.
Mhm.
And people can get in touch with you at iammythica@gmail.com and be,
Yep.
um,
And they should put in the headline, hashtag 10 free minutes.
okay.
So that I
There you
can
know.
search. So I get such a massive amount of email every day that I need to be able to search for that in order to find stuff, because sometimes it goes to the promotions, sometimes it goes to the junk section, sometimes it
And
makes
you
it in
want
my
it to
inbox.
be
And that
10,
just
say it again.
hashtag 10 free minutes.
Let's put it on the screen so everybody can see that. That's awesome. And
Yep.
I think our amazing producer is right on top of that. Love that.
Yep. There we go. Hashtag 10 free minutes.
Awesome. So we'll do that for sure. And they can find you on iammithica@gmail.com. And I believe
Yep.
you also have a website that people can find some of your artwork and other programs that you do.
Yes.
Would that be at
There it
neonbuddha?
is. Neon Buddha.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And
And Instagram too is I make everything simple. It's I am Mythica. So that's
uh,
my Twitter, that's my Instagram. My Facebook is facebook.com/. I am Mythica. Like I really
okay.
try to make it as easy as possible to
That's
find me, reach me, contact me.
that is pretty easy. I am Mythica. We need one of those little hashtags too. All right. I want to keep on going, but I'm keeping this short
I
enough so
know.
people can actually consume this at lunchtime. Um, or hopefully later they'll look at it and go like, before I go to bed, I'm going to listen to Mythica. So thank you so, so much for being on. And I will definitely have
Thank
you
you
on
for
again
having me.
because we've got to talk about your hypnotherapy that you do. We got to talk about the tree behind you. We're going to talk about all sorts of things. So thank you very, very much. And let's just wave to everyone and say goodbye.
Bye
Thank,
everyone. Have a great
bye,
day.
everybody.